Hello, 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 hello,
Hello.
hello.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed?
How many times I fantasize about being dead?
Do you ever wonder about all the different ways of dying? You know, like violently?
Oh, Linnea Quigley. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Witch Finger Horror Podcast. And my name is Yasmina, and to my right is Morgan this time. I got
That's a
confused
trip.
that time.
Yeah, that's a trip.
That's
Yeah.
me. I'm here on the right this time.
Yeah, and on the left is Megan.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, we have a new headquarters. We moved, so we have a house now and in a different location. That's what moving entails.
Yes.
I've had a couple beers. I am finished on my finals at school, so I've basically been on a bender since my last final exam, so my brain isn't working very well. And this is our 1-year anniversary show. Yeah, we started this thing a little more than a year ago, but our first episode aired about a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been planning this for a while, and for this episode, we're doing Return of the Living Dead.
Woo!
One of our
Yeah.
favorite movies ever.
Yes, and we picked it for that specific reason because it's a movie that all three of us have seen probably in excess of, I don't know, I've seen it probably like 30 times.
Yeah, lots of times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's something we're very familiar with and we know a lot about it, and there is a lot of info out there about the movie too that's kind of interesting.
There is a ton of info on this movie on the interwebs. It's crazy. I was working on my notes earlier and I was like, holy shit, I don't have time to like write more. Like, this is crazy.
I know. I kept getting sidetracked on all the other cool shit that was happening.
Me
like around the
too.
same time. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, 1985. What else happened in 1985?
1985 was a good year,
Dude, it was
man.
such a good year.
Yeah.
And like while I was watching, so we're gonna touch on that documentary that came out about this movie. And as I was watching that, I kept thinking when they're going over the special effects, I kept thinking this reminds me so much of the Reanimator.
Yeah.
The fucking Reanimator came out in 1985.
Yeah, it was a good fucking year.
Yeah, super
It was a
good
great
year.
year.
Lots of good movies came out in
Three-
85. The Goonies.
3 Chuck Norris movies came out in
Three?
1985.
Oh my
fucking,
How do they
he's
do
a
that?
machine. I
Back
have no
when
idea.
Chuck Norris was relevant in film.
I think it's because he only had like one actual line per film. So
Yeah.
like maybe he could bust out films real quick. But yeah.
Do you
Big
remember
year.
the movie with Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis, Sidekicks?
Yes, I do. Jonathan Brandis, because
I
that
saw
was one
that.
of your boyfriends.
Oh my
from,
god,
like, the
yeah,
80s.
Big Bopper. I was in love with Jonathan Brandis when I was a kid.
Was the cover them like back to back doing
Yin
high
Yang.
kicks or something?
Yeah, kind of, and like it was like kind of like the yin yang
Predictable.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, 1985 was a great year for movies. The Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, Weird Science, The Goonies.
Rambo First Blood Part 2.
I always thought it was funny that they called it that.
Yeah.
First Blood Part
Part 2.
2.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking weird. Commando, Nightmare on Elm Street.
And there was
Part
a
2.
Jason.
Yeah,
Fright
Fright
Night?
Night.
Oh my God,
Fright
that's
Night.
There's just a
Sweater.
ton of fucking movies. Ooh.
I know. It was a great year. I was only 3 years old in 1985, but at least I was alive.
Same
And-
here.
I
and,
was coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming soon to
Coming
a
soon.
vagina near you, Megan. But yeah, all right. Well,
Here we
yeah.
go.
So we're
Here we
having
go.
some fun with this episode. We already started drinking about a couple hours ago. So we're already a little sloppy. And
Oh, yeah.
so we're going to be doing our regular thing, like talking about the movie and the trivia and the actors and everything. But this time, throughout this episode, we're going to be playing a card trivia game for horror movie trivia. It's called Slash Cards. I haven't actually like really played this game since I got it because I got busy with school and everything, but it's basically just a horror movie trivia card game, and I've went through the cards and some of them are easy and some of them are really hard. So like we'll just pick a random card and we can like take turns asking and whatnot, like just for fun, just to throw something out there a little different. So we could even try one right now. That'd be fucked if it was actually about this movie.
Wouldn't
Like,
it?
the first
That one's
option.
actually on the back of the box.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
is.
kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The creators of this game, like, they had a Kickstarter. I think it's still going, but you can just buy it off their website, and I got it for Christmas. It's actually pretty sweet. Okay, so this one is kind of pretty easy. In which installment of Friday the 13th does Jason Voorhees first don his iconic hockey mask?
The third one.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
I was easy
Yeah,
on
because
you.
you had a
That's
bag
good,
on his head.
though.
Beginner's luck.
That's good. Though.
Beginner's
That's good,
luck.
Though. Start out like that.
Yeah, so then we'll keep going with these questions. So in case you guys are ever interested in buying it, then you'll have a little knowledge on it. But yeah, so Return of the Living Dead was released in 1985, directed by Dan O'Bannon. They shot this movie in 6 weeks. And Dan O'Bannon is a legendary screenwriter in Hollywood. And he passed away since. So he died in 2009 of Crohn's disease. And he actually credited his experience with this disease for inspiring the chest bursting scene in Alien.
Which is
no
amazing.
shit.
He did, yeah, and
Yeah.
like that's one of the most iconic scenes in film history. So he was very notably known for being one of the great screenwriters. He did direct some stuff as well. Like he directed this, obviously. He directed a movie called Shatterbrain with your boyfriend Morgan, Chris Sarandon.
Oh, yeah.
From Fright Night. It's actually an H.P. Lovecraft story, but he also did the screenplay for Alien. Dead and Buried, which is, I've actually never seen it, but I've always seen like the cover, and it's like a desert with like a half face like kind of coming out of this like cracked desert.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
You know what? That actually, I've tried to find that movie online a few times to be just like, I need to watch it.
Yeah, just like the cover is very iconic.
Yeah.
And he also wrote the screenplay for Life Force. I love that movie. Patrick Stewart is in it.
Yeah.
And there's like weird naked people in pods and shit. And Invaders from Mars, which is a pretty good 80s remake movie of like a 50s sci-fi movie. And Total Recall.
Yeah.
Man, I got 5 kids to feed.
I love that guy.
That's like seriously one of my fucking favorite movies. Like out of all like Arnold's movies, that's probably my favorite one. Like just because I grew up watching it.
I
Like,
think that character's mutant reveal was one of my favorites.
Yeah!
Actually, no, it was my absolute
yeah,
favorite.
what happened to number 5? Oh shit, man, you got me.
Oh, I've never seen that cover.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
never.
I remember
okay.
that
Never.
one
It
from
doesn't
all
look
the
familiar.
from all
Yeah.
the like VHS
I
Yeah,
was
it's
rental
thinking of
places.
something else.
Iconic.
No
Yeah.
shit.
But Total Recall. I fucking love that movie
Yeah.
so much. Like
Oh,
I
man,
could like
that
recite
scene-
that entire movie.
That scene where they like he's out like on the surface and his eyes are popping out.
Of course,
it's
yeah.
fucking
And his
amazing.
tongue's
I know.
jetting around. Like,
yeah, it's awesome. I fucking love that movie. And Michael Ironside, like my infatuation with him began.
Yasmina loves him.
I do.
It's,
My
like, kinda
infatuation like
weird.
began with him in that movie. Like I fucking for some reason was like 7 years old, and I was like, I thought he was so hot. Like, is that weird? He's like this like older, balding.
Yeah,
I was gonna
got
say
his
he's got
hair.
just like
Yeah.
a little hair coming around.
I don't know. I just like there's something about Michael Ironside that I'm just so attracted to. I don't know how or why.
He always plays a
There's
badass
he's
motherfucker.
always
plays
a
a bad
badass.
guy.
He's always.
Yeah.
Although I did recently watch a movie where he wasn't really a bad guy, but he was like kind of a guy that like helped people, but he still had an attitude. And it was called Neon City, and it was so fucking bad. But I had to
Aw.
watch it though, because it's like if I have an obsession with an actor, I will watch all their movies.
Yeah. Well, we watched
like
The
Nick
Vagrant.
Cage. Oh yeah, well
He was
we have
in
an
that.
obsession with Bill Paxton, and we
Yes.
watched The Vagrant, and that was interesting.
Yeah, and Michael Ironside was in that. He had like a smaller role as like he was like the police, like a cop guy or whatever. But
Yeah.
we just had to watch it. 'cause
Yeah, we
it was
had to
like
watch
Boyfriend
it.
City.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, well, Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter collaborated together and wrote Dark Star, which is the only John Carpenter movie that I've never seen.
Why does that? It sounds sci-fi.
I don't think I know that
horror?
movie.
It's sci-fi. I'm
Okay.
just like, it's, for some reason, I don't know why, like it just kind of slipped under my radar, but it's the only John Carpenter movie that I've never fucking seen.
Interesting. Is it more of a? Oh, it's older.
Yeah, it's from 1974.
Okay.
Did he direct it?
John Carpenter directed it, and John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon wrote it together, and Dan O'Bannon also stars in it.
Oh,
shit.
that's
And it takes
interesting.
place in space, a small crew, 20 years into their mission, and things begin to go wrong. So anytime,
That's ominous.
if there is a premise in space where shit goes wrong,
that.
I am into that.
Yeah.
It fucking freaks me out. Like space I love it. I'm fascinated by it, but I don't know if I can actually go there.
No, fuck that.
Because
no
if
way.
something went wrong?
No.
Oh,
I've had this
Fuck it.
conversation
Yeah.
about the people
Nightmare
who
City,
think
man.
that they're gonna go to Mars and like live on Mars. I'm like, you guys are all stupid. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that first guy. Maybe 50 or 100 years down the road, sure. To be the first colony on Mars, y'all motherfuckers gonna die.
No way.
Sorry.
I'm not. No
And
way.
like, how many space fucking missions have we seen explode on takeoff?
Oh,
in
terrible.
the history of,
Terrible.
rocket ship launches.
I could probably like go like in the stratosphere and like just on the very
Like
cusp.
that guy who jumped?
Yeah.
Whoa!
I could probably
Fuck
go
longer
there.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Just because I love space so much, like just to say that it's like holy fuck and just experience that, but actually going like light years away, I don't think I
Nope.
could do that. No fucking
Nope.
way.
Sorry.
Nope.
Unless it was literally the Starship Enterprise. Like, I need some fucking comfort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
If it
Where
is
you can just like
Give me some motherfucking Earl Grey tea
Yeah,
on
yeah,
command.
yeah.
talk into a
Then
computer and it
yes.
gives you whatever you
Yeah.
want, like chocolate cake or lasagna or fucking whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, whiskey though.
That's
Really?
right. Yeah.
Whiskey
Why
and
not?
space.
Did you ever see people drunk on Star Trek?
Yes. What do you think Guinan was doing? She was slinging fucking.
You're lying.
drinks.
Oh, she was a bartender.
She was the
yeah.
And also, John Travolta got drunk in Battlefield Earth. And he was in
Oh my
space.
god.
Oh my God.
That's like a whole other fucking ballpark conversation.
Drunken
We're not
space.
even gonna fucking start.
No.
The mood
Right
changes.
now.
Oh,
I know. Battlefield
fuck.
Earth. Oh my
God.
god.
What a terrible movie that was.
I know. But back to Return of the Living Dead.
Right.
So the government man is calling his other government man friend, and obviously the canister has been opened.
And of course, the government
I love all
has
these
phones inside of their fucking like
cabinets
and
their
so I'm just
computers.
gonna call.
But yeah, well, this is a story which was a novel by John A. Russo. And so John A. Russo obviously co-wrote with George A. Romero, Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
And so what happened, I'm like, you guys watched the documentary.
Yeah.
I did
It's
a little
kinda
bit of research.
complicated.
There was some, legality issues. So when Night of the Living Dead, after that movie was finished, they parted ways. And John A. Russo owned any title with the words Living Dead in it. So then George A. Romero went on and continued and did Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. And then but John A. Russo wanted to do Return of the Living Dead. And then apparently there was a lawsuit that was infringing on copyright issues with Day of the Dead because it was released the same year. Or something like that, but he ended up winning.
Yeah, they won.
Because he owns, the words, Living Dead together in a title. And, but I did watch the part in the documentary where they were talking, John A. Russo was, talking about, how, people think that they have this, rivalry, but they're just,
They were actually friends.
they're still friends.
Yeah, well,
they just, don't care.
A lot of
They
that
don't
sort of
give
thing
two
is,
fucks.
it's
Yeah, no
complicated, though, because it's, they can own, certain trademarks and stuff like that, but, oftentimes other people, other production companies, other investors are the ones that actually own the rights to your movie. So, I mean, they remained friends, but it still was kind of complicated probably because, movie rights and book rights and that sort of thing, they always kind of get in the way of that sort of thing. So I find that to be kind of interesting, but that's cool. So they were able to,
So I actually
divide it up.
bought the original novel from John
That's
A.
cool.
Russo because he was at Shockstock 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I bought the original novel, and it is different.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
different because what happened was Tobe Hooper was originally supposed to direct Return of the Living Dead, and it was actually supposed to be in 3D. But then,
Which would have been really cool.
Yeah, I know. But then Hooper backed out to work on Life Force, and but so then they offered the directing spot to Dan O'Bannon. But yeah, Dan O'Bannon did the script of it, even though John A. Russo wrote the novel. But then when Dan O'Bannon was offered the spot to direct the movie, he was like, well, he'll do it under the condition that he rewrites the script.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like it. And the original novel, wasn't there cults of people who believed in zombies so that whenever somebody died.
It explained it better, but it was better in a book than a movie. That storyline that he wrote, because it was more
and it was
culty.
aliens were involved as well, right?
Oh, I don't remember aliens.
I could have swore there was aliens involved in,
Yeah, there very
in the
well could have
novel,
been.
but that's these. It's like the premise was like cults who like believed in zombies, and then the opening scene was like parents at like a daughter's funeral or something.
Yeah, I
and then
remember
they had to
seeing
like
that.
the tradition was to like drive a spike through the head of the body, like just in case it comes back or whatever. But then I guess Dan O'Bannon just wasn't really into it, and he wanted to make it more of like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And like wanted to make it like more slapstick. So John A. Russo still holds a writing credit on the film because he wrote the novel and like the characters, but Dan O'Bannon is like responsible for like the
screenplay doesn't really have a lot to do with the book. It's like the same idea.
No,
but
they're very
like,
different.
It's not like scene for scene, word for word kind of thing. So there was a lot of artistic liberty taken.
I'm sure there was probably some like hostility at the time when this was happening, but I think in the documentary that John A. Russo was like, I'm glad that it went this way though, because like obviously this movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he said there were a few parts where he was like, this is gonna be fucking brutal, and then he's like, and it fucking worked out. You know what, I have to say, for all the drama that we hear happen in this movie, hearing it from everyone's mouths in that documentary, they're all like, yeah, well, it's fine. Like, no one's like, fuck them.
In the end,
even the guy who got fired was like, yeah, it just wasn't working. I just wasn't doing my job properly. Like, everyone seems so cool about it.
Very chill people.
Yeah, it seems like all in all, like they had a good camaraderie, and
except for Clu.
Yeah, oh my god, Clu Gulager. He's a motherfucker.
Yeah,
like
that
all
guy
of the
was
stories.
He's like a crooner, that guy.
Oh man.
Like all the stories about him
So
having a
smoking
crazy
hot.
temper and like fucking like wanting to kick Dan O'Bannon's ass and like chasing him with a baseball bat and stuff, like fucking amazing.
I know. Well, like we're huge fans of Clu Gulager. Mainly because of his name.
Yeah.
You can't
what
even
a
like
fucking
say it
name
without
that
like
is.
fucking laughing.
He's one of our podcast boyfriends.
Yeah, he is. Like he was in a couple other movies that we did for the podcast. He was in The Willies.
Yes.
He was in Uninvited. He's also in the Feast movies.
Fuck.
He's
Which
in,
his son directed.
Oh, I didn't know
No
that.
way.
It's his last name Gulager?
Sure is.
Julia
John
Gulager.
Gulager. Yeah, so that's why he's in those movies.
Oh, I
too.
didn't know
that's
that. That's
super
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, he was also the dad in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's in The Hidden. I believe Kyle MacLachlan is in that. I'm into that movie. He was in one of the Puppet Master movies, Part 5.
Ooh.
So wait, he was... I just put that together. He was the dad in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, which was released the same year as this movie.
Oh, really? Yeah,
That's
it was.
a big year for him.
Yeah.
He's
job,
a big
Clu.
boy.
That's a big year for him.
Yeah. Well, his character was actually originally offered to Leslie Nielsen, but he wanted too much money.
Of course he did.
And then it was offered to 2 other actors before Clu got it. And then when he got it, it was like literally right before the first day of shooting. And yeah, so he had like a reputation for having like a very like angry and like had violent behavior issues. And yeah, like you said, like at one point, like he had like a lead pipe in the movie, and like it was a real lead pipe. And Dan O'Bannon, like without him noticing, had to like sneakily like change it to a rubber one. Like just in case his like fucking... He didn't have an outburst and like hit somebody overhead with like a real lead pipe.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like
that's hilarious.
The documentary was like talking about he was like he threw a can at Dan O'Bannon as he was leaving the room, and it like smashed on the door frame just outside of where he had walked. And
but then that's one of those things where he goes,
like,
no,
I
don't remember that.
I'm
happening.
a consummate professional.
Yeah.
That's funny. That reminds me of like the Charlie Murphy stories. R.I.P.
Yeah,
Where, like, but like the opposite though, where Rick James was like, "Yeah, that happened."
Yeah,
and like kicked my shoes on his couch.
Yeah.
I rubbed my feet on his couch.
That's right. Of course, I did that shit. Oh,
and that is why the world needs Rick James.
I know.
And Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, that was very sad.
I
to
know.
hear about that. It was really
I didn't even know he was sick.
I know.
Me neither.
No.
Yeah.
Like came as a total shock.
Yeah.
So Linnea Quigley is taking her clothes off now.
Yeah.
Which is basically what she does in every fucking movie.
Yeah.
Me and Megan met her.
Yeah, she was really,
so
really
nice.
cool.
I love her.
She was just genuinely interested in her fans. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
By the
somebody
way-
like made a Night of the Demons cake for her.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a vegan cake because she's vegan, and like she's so fucking rad. I love her so much. Like she just like truly embodies like the 80s horror party girl.
Oh, so should we talk about her vagina mold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I want to see it now. I need to look very hard.
Yeah, so apparently there was a prosthetic because originally
She had bush.
Yeah, she had bush, and then they were like, okay, that's gonna get an X rating. And then they were like, okay, we want to have her shave everything, and they were like, okay, and then
She
they
was
were
like really embarrassed by it.
yeah, then
It's
they were like,
kinda
that's even
humiliating.
worse.
Yeah, I know.
'cause
Well,
it's like you
especially
can
in the
see
80s
everything.
because bush was common.
Yeah.
Like no one shaved back then.
They like take her off set and they're like, psst, we're gonna have to shave you bald.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. She was
Yeah.
really embarrassed, and so she like they made a prosthetic like cooter. Like
to go over top of everything, so
I
that like
know.
her
Heaven
fucking
forbid
lips
you see a
weren't
slit.
I know, right? Oh my
I
God.
know. But like it would have made it more annoying for her to go and pee and poo and shit. Like she would have to take it off and
Imagine
they'd have
that
to glue
mold.
it back on.
Imagine
Yeah.
setting that mold.
Yeah,
you
like,
Yeah.
oh,
literally
you're just
clay
spread your
inside
fucking
your twat.
spread
Yeah.
your fucking legs. We're gonna do a mold for your fucking crotch.
I know.
Fuck.
God bless her though. She's great. I
Yeah.
fucking love her. Like one of my favorite all-time movies of hers is Night of the Demons. Like hands down. Stop looking at me. Like what other fucking movie seriously besides Society would involve a lipstick going inside of a
Right?
nipple?
Oh
Like
my
that's like the
God.
greatest thing ever. She was also in Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah.
She's in this movie that I've never seen, but I've always wanted to, and it's like on my list. Creepazoids.
Oh.
It looks
I've
hilarious.
heard of that movie, yeah.
I've heard of Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama
Yeah, that's
because
one
I've
of those
suggested
movies.
that we do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it. And she's in Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Dr. Alien.
Oh, nice. Your favorite.
Yeah.
And Dead Heat, which is another really hilarious
That's
fucking
a good
movie
one.
with Joe Piscopo.
Oh.
Oh my God, that movie's so funny. And like, she's also in Pumpkinhead 2. She's also in a movie that I have on VHS that I had her sign when I met her. She signed my Witch Trap and Night
my
of the
God,
Demons.
Witch Trap. No,
You want to
we
fucking
have
watch
to
some
watch
bad
it.
acting? Watch Witch Trap.
We have
Holy
to.
shit. It's basically like, it's Witchboard. It's like the same characters, but a different director. And like, it's like the same story, kind of. But it's like the worst fucking acting I've ever seen. Oh, by the way, the yellow naked zombie is,
Oh, I
is
love that.
running, attacking James Cairn right now.
I love it.
He's so funny looking when they chop his,
I
when
know.
they saw his head off.
And he's running around and shit. Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. There was a quote from the documentary about Linnea Quigley that Clu Gulager said when they were talking about her taking her shirt off, and he was like, she didn't give a shit about all that morality crap. She's an actress and one of the best.
Ah, that's awesome. That's
After it was
adorable.
like,
That's
oh,
a
yeah.
nice thing for him to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
You know, she's like out there fucking...
Well, really
Showed her
cool
boobs
fun
and-
fact about her. She is in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. She is one of the souls in Freddy's chest, and she's the
so
naked.
random.
But she's just the naked body, like the tits, like moving on his chest, and she was dating the special effects artist, and he proposed to her during the filming of that movie. So they got like married, like
that's
she had like
nice.
KY jelly all over her body,
Aww.
and he like proposed to her and like put the ring on her finger, and it was like slipping off because of the jelly.
That's so nice.
That's funny.
Yeah, Steve Johnson is his name, and they only got married for a couple years, but I thought that was a pretty interesting story.
That's really nice.
And I love her horror workout. We've talked about it before.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yeah, for the death spa
Yeah.
episode. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. All she does is stretch.
Well.
And dance, I
That's
guess,
important.
right?
Yeah.
That's
fucking
aerobics.
important.
Stretching is important, and I don't do it.
I know, me neither.
I'm bad. I don't. She's also a singer and a guitar player in an all-girl band
That's fucking
called
cool.
The Skirts.
That's a sweet name.
that's
I
really
watched
cool.
the video today, and that's all I have about her.
Oh, yeah.
I really wanted to see a lot of the movies that the other like tits in this movie. That Jewel Shepard.
Oh yeah, she was
She
a
has
stripper.
an interesting story.
She's
Yeah.
in just a bunch of movies where it's like boobs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know
like
what?
she
they
was
might
a
as well be
stripper.
called boobs. Yeah.
She doesn't care. Like I love that woman. Watching that documentary
Yeah.
about this movie, like
Yeah.
just how she kind of like approached things, how she talked about everything. Like she just seems like a fucking fun person,
Yeah.
a really fun person. And yeah, so she was a stripper, and Dan O'Bannon apparently met her at a strip club and wanted her to be in the movie, and she had tried out for a couple different.
He wanted her to be
roles.
trash.
Yeah, and
But that she was like, I'm sick of being naked all the
Yeah.
time. Like I want a different role. So
Yeah.
they gave her the role of Casey, the party girl, and apparently it took 45 takes of the scene where she says "go choke a chicken" because she didn't understand what it meant. So that also like added to like the difficulty
She
of her
wasn't saying it properly. Yeah, okay.
And yeah, it took 45 takes of her just saying "go
gosh.
choke a chicken."
Wow.
Look at that greasy body.
I know, she's like still naked in the graveyard.
Yep. It's having a great time.
She does have a really
Her body is
insane.
That is
It's
ridiculous.
incredible.
Yeah.
Insane. I love how she kept her leg warmers on. Seriously.
Yeah.
yeah.
She claimed to have loved this part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Grinding up on suicide.
Yeah.
This actor, I don't know if I wrote anything down about his name, but he actually apparently died of leukemia
Aw.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
He didn't have a very long life, which is really, really sad.
That's too bad.
And they all spoke really, really highly of him, and obviously Linnea Quigley loved this shit, grinding and touching his crotch and having a good time.
Because you think this is a fucking costume?
This is a way
It's
of
a
life.
I don't get her fucking face makeup though.
Linnea Quigley?
Yeah.
Maybe
In this movie, I
the
don't
makeup,
I don't
like
get
the
it.
cosmetic makeup, like
Yeah, like,
people
she has
probably
The black
didn't.
lines on her face, like it's kind of punk rock, I guess.
Really? But what are they?
I don't know. And then we got Don Calfa here. Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh my god! What a disturbing
I
movie.
know, isn't that fucking
When you
I was
actually
like-
think about
Yeah,
it.
man. I was like
yeah.
thinking about that movie the other day, and I was like, that is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
You
I
get
haven't
a
seen it in
lot
a
of
really
trouble
long
for
time.
that.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that
lot.
movie in a really long time. Are they like? What's the deal with Bernie? Is he their friend?
I don't know if he was their friend.
Or
I
is he
think-
just a guy?
I think he was someone they met. Like, they were trying to do like a deal or something.
I
can't
don't know.
remember, but
Weekend
he
at
was
Bernie's
rich.
is one of those
He
movies
was
that I've
rich.
seen a lot. Yeah, and it was like
And that's why they wanted to like keep the charade
Yeah.
up.
It's like he's their employer, and they keep him around, I guess, like to lead a hitman to attempt to track him down to finish him off.
Okay, well.
I don't know.
I don't remember
All
that.
I
don't
remember is a
it.
lot of partying.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie
Yeah.
at all.
There's a second one, isn't there?
I think there's like 3.
Oh, it doesn't
Yeah,
make
there
any
was
sense.
at least a sequel I remember, and it's like by the third, like sequel, like you'd think is the corpse like not like just rotting.
Oh my
Maybe
god,
it's
I
a
know.
different
Maybe the
premise.
second
Maybe
one,
it's
like,
different.
it
It's
could
like,
be a
Look Who's
different
talking.
corpse.
Like, Look Who's Talking Now.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
a different baby, or I don't remember
another
those movies
annoying
either.
baby.
Well, Bernie, from Weekend at Bernie's, in case you forgot, is the psychiatrist from Friday 13th Part 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
The asshole?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Bernie.
Isn't Balky in that movie too? From Perfect Strangers? No, I'm
No.
thinking of something else. Sorry. But anyways,
Valky Bortokamos. I loved that
he's
show.
in Beverly Hills Cop.
yeah. And he's in
I
the
watched
like,
that.
Oh,
Years.
and he's in Risky Business.
Oh
And I
my
know that
gosh.
because I just watched it for like the first time ever the other day.
Only just to see Tom Cruise in his underwear, probably.
Apparently there was a new Perfect Strangers.
Yeah. I heard about that on like
Really?
Netflix or something.
Or is that a movie?
No, this is like a movie.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
never mind.
it looks like an Italian one. Perfetti.
Bronson
Scuti.
Bronson Pinchcott. That's his
Pinchcock?
name. Pinchcock.
Jake Bruce.
Pinchot. Bronson Pinchot.
Pinchot.
Balky Bortokamos. I remember like watching that show when I was a kid, and he had like a stuffed animal that was like a lamb named Dimitri.
Weird.
And I remember that because I also
Stuffed lamb named Dimitri?
had a stuffed lamb animal.
But you didn't name it Dimitri.
I did
You
on
did.
purpose
Oh,
because
okay.
of the show.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he's also in True Romance. He's,
Oh.
Very strange.
Yeah.
All right, so they're bringing the chopped up yellow guy to their
Out to the morgue where he's like
embalming
using
friend.
those embalming tools are real.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what- I read that.
Also, the wiggling body, quote unquote, body parts in the bag were apparently those like motorized monkey like wind up toys that like have the symbols, but they
You mean
no
that
way.
one right there?
yeah, but they removed the symbols, so and they
I can
wound
see
them up,
it.
Oh my god, that's
and they
so
just
funny.
turned them on and had them wiggle in the bags to be like the reanimated body parts, which is like kind of weird, but I guess it worked. It's amazing what they did in the 80s for
Yeah, I know. For ideas.
movie making. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that monkey thing on a shelf in my living room.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've never seen Monkey Shines.
Really?
I know.
That is a surprise.
I know. I've never seen it.
That is a shock and a surprise.
I've seen that movie a few times.
But I've
actually.
seen
It's good.
you made me watch the scene with like the back surgery.
Yeah.
Or
Oh my
something.
God! Isn't it
So
terrible?
like that. Well, to me, it's fascinating because I love anatomy. But I have seen that scene. But
that
no,
scene
I've never
fucked me
seen
up
it.
when
It's
I
on
was
my
a kid
list.
when I watched it. Yeah.
It's on my list. I just like I never got around to watching it for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that scene really stuck out to me. Like when I was a kid, like stuff like that. It really fucked with me. Actually, it's funny that we're talking about that because in this movie, the one scene with the split dog at the very beginning,
oh man,
that shit when I was a kid fucked with my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it's like barking and then like fucking.
It's always weird to
smashing
see
it.
an animal suffering.
Oh,
like
that's a
makes
fucked
you
up
feel,
scene.
especially if you're like a kid. Like I can see that fucking with you for life.
And then like more recently, I've Googled to see if they were actually if they're real. Like the anatomical like split dog thing is it a real thing? Is it, or was it just like a fabrication for this movie? Like, can you buy a split dog for veterinary purposes?
Probably you can buy anything.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, they
maybe
probably
I'll
just
check
have
it out.
plastic models for
that's
that,
too
for
bad.
veterinary school and shit.
Yeah, now they would.
Like, because even nowadays, like, for, like, anatomy courses and stuff like that, anatomical, like, real skeletons are just too much money, and schools
Yeah.
don't pay for it. So,
Yeah.
like, they just have the plastic ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and the old school ones, they do go for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of those in this movie as well. Like, some of the skeletons that they have are actually real skeletons.
Which is interesting because for a low budget film, how the fuck did you get a real fucking skeleton?
back
Maybe
then it
back
was
then
cheaper.
it was cheap,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you know the one scene when when everything starts coming out of the actual graveyard,
Yeah.
the one skeleton that's like pure like white
Yeah,
and it comes
yeah.
out and then it opens its eyes and its mouth
Yeah,
opens.
yeah. And
That's
it
a real
sings the party.
Yeah, I
song.
know.
Yeah.
It's a real skeleton.
That's cool.
It's a real
no, yeah, back
fucking
then, well,
medical
because
skeleton.
it's all about like economics. So
Yeah.
like now that anything that's like authentic and like real is like more in demand. So then like obviously like the rates will increase.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
kind
back
of
then
it,
they
yeah.
just like obviously maybe people in the 80s like didn't want the real stuff. That's why it was cheap. Like in Poltergeist,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
how those
those?
skeletons
Yeah.
were real. And
Yeah, but
stuff.
those were all like haunted ass fucking skeletons. They picked the
Yeah.
wrong skeletons.
Mm.
And this Rick James motherfucker.
I know. I
Miguel
fucking love
Nunez.
this guy. I was just gonna say, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. is his name, and apparently he was homeless when he was
Yeah.
hired for this movie.
Isn't that crazy?
And he was also the same year in Friday the 13th Part 5, and his character's name was Demon.
yeah.
Demon. And he also is in the terrible fucking Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, he plays DJ. I want to
It's been
rewatch
a while.
that
I have to
movie.
rewatch that. Yeah, I was.
I
just
need to
thinking-
rewatch that movie because I remember like when I was a kid I was obsessed with the Street Fighter arcade game. Like I always played with Blanca, and I just really wanted like to see how they did it like Blanca in the movie.
And it was so
oh
shitty.
my god, it was so shitty. Like I
was
can't
so
believe how shitty Blanca looked in that movie.
It was so
I saw
bad.
it in theaters and I was a child and I was like unimpressed with the
Yeah,
makeup. I was like, what
so
the fuck? He looks
bad.
like a fucking troll.
They could have done a way better
I know,
job.
he looks terrible. I kind of want to rewatch that movie though because I've been
Yeah.
on like a Jean-Claude kick lately, and
Uh-huh.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh
kick,
man,
really.
I
That was
kick.
good.
Get it?
Everything, every fucking movie that he said he has to do the splits in.
Yeah.
He has to
He
do the splits in
absolutely
every
does.
movie.
It makes his butt look so juicy.
Round?
Oh
It's like
my
an orange.
gosh.
It's like crazy.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
two oranges. Like
perfect.
it's so weird.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends. Yeah,
That's
when
how he
posts on
starts
his
every.
Instagram.
I feel like-
every Instagram post starts out. Hi, friends.
I feel like him and Arnold were both just bodies at first because Jean-Claude couldn't act or speak
Yeah, I know.
English worth
Yeah.
a damn.
He had a face though.
Oh,
He was a good-looking guy back
holy
then.
fuck! That
Hi,
mullet,
friends.
that like
Hi, friends.
greasy curly mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 80s, we were looking at some Instagram photos the other day, Yasmina and I, and we were like, yeah, like.
Jean-Claude was
Not
fucking
bad.
hot
Not
back
bad.
then. Like, holy.
Breaking.
Yeah,
Like,
breaking.
she loves to dance.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
I sent that gif of him dancing in the background and breaking to Megan on her birthday,
It was
which was
amazing.
just
Oh
a
my
few days
God,
ago.
yeah.
And
so
yeah, I
funny.
just like I didn't even say anything. I just like sent you that gif.
That's all I needed.
Yeah, and then but this
Oh,
guy, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. is also in Leprechaun 4 in space.
Oh, so he's doing all the good ones.
Yeah,
so
all the good ones.
best ones.
But recently, like, he's still acting, but he's actually in this hilarious movie, like, honestly, like, my opinion, like, one of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen, like, Black Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that?
I know the movie. I don't think I've seen it.
It's so fucking funny. Like, it came out in 2009, I think, and it's just like making fun of blaxploitation movies. Fuck, man, Dolomite. Oh my god, you guys, like, seriously, if you want to watch a really funny movie, watch Black Dynamite. It is hilarious. It is so fucking funny.
Funny movies.
Speaking of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Arnold, like you were saying, that how they were just bodies at first. James Cameron, could we watch Hercules in New York?
Oh my god!
I don't remember him being in that movie.
I don't remember him being in that
totally
movie.
in
I know.
Hercules in
Okay,
New York,
like
apparently.
I have like it's like unhealthy obsession with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like
It's unhealthy.
Yeah, well, I mean. Okay, it's not, like, unhealthy, like, it takes over my life or anything, but I am usually pretty, like, casual when I meet famous people, like, because to me, they're just other people that just have, that's their jobs.
Yeah.
I would probably cry.
Fall to her knees.
I would seriously be hysterical if I ever met Arnold. So, like, that just gives you, like, an idea of, like, how much I love him. And we watched one night, we were drinking wine and eating cheese and watching Hercules in New York, and it's, like, the worst fucking movie. It is so awful. And then I was doing my research on this and saw that James Cameron was in it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember him
in
being
there,
that
no.
at all, but I guess we were drinking wine and everything.
We were, it was a good night.
Yeah,
It didn't give
but,
you, like, a character to reference?
No, like, he was, like, an actual character when I was reading the credits. He plays a professor.
Professor Camden.
He's the fourth name in the IMDb credits, so
Shit.
we gotta rewatch it. That movie is so bad. It's probably why we don't remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so awful.
It was
like,
terrible.
it was like when Arnold was just learning English, too, so he could, like, barely fucking speak.
And there's a couple versions. One version is with his original audio track, and then the one that we watched was, like, a dubbed.
No,
we watched the original okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay, because there's two versions. Like, originally they had somebody, like, overdub his
voice, like, with, like, a different voice
worse.
actor.
That's so much worse.
I know. Well, because, like, back then they were like, well, we can't, like, you're basically a body,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's just, we just want your body and your face, and he just, like, literally just came to America from Austria.
Yeah.
So, like, he was just learning English, so they dubbed it, but then, like, I guess, like, a fan on the internet, like, fucking was, like, demanded for the audio track, like, the original audio track, and,
Why
like,
would
he
you
found
even want
it.
to?
Because it's hilarious. Like, it's so bad.
It was
Like, there's,
very
like, one
bad.
part where he's, like, in one of those, like, one of those, like, I don't even know what they're called, like, date
Like a
with,
chariot?
like, a
Oh,
chariot
yeah.
thing.
Like
He's, like, on a date with a woman, and to, like, try to impress her, he uses the line, like, something about, like, climbing a mountain or something. Like, do you remember that?
Like, referring to his
Like, he
body?
was like, hey, baby, you want to watch me climb a mountain or something like that? And she was like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds
Like,
great.
you come with the car. Oh, you. It was so awful.
Oh, man.
It was so awful. But yeah, James Cameron, he's in a bunch of fucking shit too. Actually, apparently he wrote his death in this movie.
Yeah.
Because originally he was supposed to be transformed into a zombie and just joined into the mob, but he didn't
want to
wanna shoot in the rain.
What an old fucking
Yeah,
man.
he was like, I don't want to go outside in the rain.
He's
Fuck
a
that.
princess.
Change my whole character's death.
Yeah.
Like, and trajectory. Like, it's just, like, changed the whole fucking thing. Some of these, like, old men actors,
I
like, are so,
know.
like, set in their ways,
They
eh?
are. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It
like,
makes me
they're like,
laugh.
no, this is the way that it's gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
deal with it.
And he got his way, though, because he didn't have to shoot in the rain standing in the cold, and
yeah.
he just hopped into that, spoiler alert,
Well, that's funny because
hopped into the fire.
he
Yeah.
also claims that he wanted to die with dignity.
Oh, sure.
Is how another way he put it, so
Yeah.
he didn't sound like a biatch.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
it make
well, you know, I just felt like maybe I would take my own life, like I would, you know, stop the process or like stop the cycle or whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out he just didn't want to be a cold bitch.
That's funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, like, holding dignity in a movie like Return of the
I know.
Living
Yeah,
Dead
I
is so
know.
valid.
I know. So
That's
he was
funny.
nominated for a Saturn for his role.
He's awesome in this movie, though.
Yeah.
He is.
He really is.
He's great.
He's
in
pretty
this
funny,
fucking movie.
He seems like a funny guy.
Yeah, he was also in Poltergeist.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Invaders from Mars, which is also directed by Tobe Hooper, and the screenplay was co-written by John A. Russo as well, which is another awesome 80s remake from the 50s. Like, there were so many good, like, 80s remakes that were going on from earlier movies from the 50s that, like, The Blob, like, there was so many good ones. That is a good one. Invaders from Mars, it's got Karen Black in it, and, like, the aliens are just, like, hilarious looking. He's also in Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Yes. Which we'll have to talk about.
Oh, of course. He's also in the Willies. So
Yep.
him and Clu are both in the Willies. And Dana Ashbrook, who is Bobby Briggs from Twin Peaks, is also in Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and the Willies as well. There's so many connections with all these different actors. And James Cairn is also in one of my favorite David Lynch movies, Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. And he's in Capricorn 1, which is the movie about the faking the Mars landing.
Oh, right.
I watched that movie.
Oh, I'd love to see
sort of
that.
recently. It's actually pretty good. It's on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah.
It's got James Brolin in it.
Oh, so it's like...
And
kind of
O.J.
recent.
Simpson is in it.
O.J. Simpson!
Yeah.
Drop presses.
I know. Well, you know, yeah. O.J. Simpson's pretty big deal.
Well, apparently, Dan O'Bannon was actually supposed to play Frank, James Cairn's character. But when he saw James audition for a different role, he was, like, blown away by his performance and decided to give him the role of Frank.
Oh, no shit.
Poor Linnea Quigley must have been so cold on the set. Like, she's basically has no clothes on for the rest of the
I know,
movie.
she's just naked the entire time.
I
I
feel
do
so
love
bad
it
for
when
her.
she turns into, like,
A zombie
like
and
a-
she
like
looks
a ghoul.
crazy.
yeah.
Her
So we're going to do
face.
another question here.
I just pulled one out.
All right. That's what she said.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, here you go. Here's one that's like fairly easy. Giant subterranean worms lay siege to a small desert town in this 1990 film.
Yeah.
Tremors.
Tremors.
That's
Okay.
a hard one.
All right, here's a hard one. In Halloween, the first one, original, 1978, what is the name of the boy Laurie Strode has a crush on?
Give me a second. Benjamin Tramer?
You're right.
Is it?
Yeah.
I love trivia!
Yasmina is the
Sweet.
best. Holy shit. We just flipped that shit. Oh my god, Tarman.
Here he comes!
Ah!
I love his talk.
I know, I was
gonna say that. Okay, so the scene where she just ran up the stairs, she actually didn't know that Dan O'Bannon, like, put, like a fake step that's, like, meant to be broken in movies
Oh,
there.
yeah, she busted
and
herself.
she fucking hurt herself, like, because he wanted to catch her, like, as a surprise.
Yeah.
And she was, like, running up the stairs from Tarman, and, like, the stair broke, and then she actually fell and, like, bruised herself really badly. But it worked for the film, though, because she seemed really surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder how Tarman's tongue can be so pink and the rest of him is just like a
And his
sludge
eyeballs
corpse.
are really, really white
Yeah.
and bulgy.
I do
Yeah.
like the way that he looks in part 2, though. Like, they made him look cooler a little bit. Like, they took more work to do them, like, the clay sculpting of his face, but Tarman is played by Alan Trotman, who's a puppeteer for The Muppets and Dinosaurs.
Yeah, he worked for Jim Henson. That's
Yeah,
really fucking cool.
which is pretty fucking cool.
And he's also like a really creepy thin man, which is why
Like
it
Doug
really
Jones.
worked for this because they were looking for somebody obviously to be able to fit into a suit that so it didn't
Yeah.
look too bulky.
I guarantee him and Doug Jones are friends. Like,
He
because-
himself has very interesting features as well.
Totally.
Like, just looking
Yeah.
at him. He's kind of funny looking.
Yeah, well, the ingredient that this is another tie with the Blob remake. Methicel was like the ingredient used for the stickiness of the substance around him, which is also the ingredient that they used for the Blob in the
cool.
80s Blob movie.
That's cool.
Speaking of, like, how pink his tongue is and stuff, there was just a ton of, like, when you're reading of all, like, the goofs in this movie, a ton of them are like, okay, well, if a body's decomposing, it shouldn't look like this. Or, like, there was just
I love stuff like that.
A ton of them.
I think it's funny that people, like, go out of their way.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, yeah, of course you're right. But it's like, it's a horror movie.
I know.
Like in Nightmare on Elm Street, like how he pulls his head skin back and it just
Yeah.
reveals his brain.
Yeah.
Like, is his brain outside of his skull?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how does that make sense?
Oh shit.
It totally doesn't.
But I love that stuff though. But it's like, but that's why I love these movies, because that stuff, like, you can look at it and laugh at it. You know what I mean? And be like, well, that still looks cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the people looking into it had a ton of fun researching
Totally.
it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Tarman is, like, I think the most iconic of, like, the zombies that have, like, personalities as far as, like, you know, zombie movies go. Like, he's an icon.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Everybody fucking knows Tarman.
Yeah.
And his creepy ass wonky walk that he does.
Yeah, I know.
And how he's the first zombie that actually said anything ever.
Yeah.
This movie set a precedent for fast zombies, for zombies that speak.
Well, they were talking about how they wanted to make it completely different because they didn't want to be copywriting. Do you know what I mean? They wanted even they commented on it. We had to do a lot of things different.
Yeah, and like even the brains thing, like the Romero zombies eat just flesh.
Yeah.
But this was set the precedent for like brain eating zombies specifically, and that is something that has carried forward actually in a lot of other movies.
Yeah, definitely, like, the differences between the zombies in this, as opposed to Night of the Living Dead, is that they specifically eat brains and not just flesh, because in this movie, brains make the pain of being dead go away.
Brains.
Yeah, that's Morgan's favorite character, is the half zombie.
I love her. She's
which,
so precious.
in my opinion, is there's no way that you can debate that is the inspiration for the half-crawling zombie in The Walking Dead.
Oh, that first episode,
God.
And even still, it's like, even like John A. Russo, he's even said that he, like, when they wrote Night of the Living Dead together with him and George A. Romero, like, he took inspiration from I Am Legend.
Oh.
So the idea behind Night of the Living Dead came from I Am Legend, except like in I Am Legend, like, it's like vampires, whereas like they took the ghoul idea from that. So everybody, like, obviously has like inspiration from other people, but definitely, like, when people ever fucking bring up like the crawling zombie from Walking Dead, I'm just like, watch Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Bitch. Yeah, because like it's like even just the makeup on the half zombie is like incredible. Like, when you compare it to like even just makeup now, like, it's like, I can't believe that it's been like 30 years.
The hair.
It holds
oh my god, it holds
so
up
well.
so
Like,
well.
yeah, the animatronics and everything, like, such a fabulous job. Like, I remember being super young and just being absolutely fucking horrified by that zombie.
Tony Gardner is the special effects artist who is responsible for the half zombie girl, and Brian Peck did the voice of her, which I actually did not know.
Well, he actually did the voice while they were recording, but the overdubbed voice is not Brian Peck. The half zombie lady's voiced by Cherry Davis, who actually was a radio actor from like the 40s.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
And she did some voice acting for 101 Dalmatians as well.
That's nice.
But yeah, he did the voice while they were like doing the scenes, and he was like hiding and under the table.
The table and everything, yeah.
But then they overdubbed.
I love that the skull just came up like from the grave, and I love that it's like if the flesh was off of a body and just revealed like skeleton, like somehow eyeballs are still
that was one of the
things. And then like, but I love when he comes out and they play that 45 Grave song. Like, it's so funny that he's like, all right, I'm ready to murder and pillage people and eat you, but I'm also ready to party.
Yeah, well, I think the special effects director, I can't remember what his name was, in the documentary, he talked about how much he disliked that particular skeleton because it was too clean.
Well, that was the thing he said.
But it's raining.
Because he was the art director, and he had all these drawings, and they were like for these ideas of the different zombies, like, it was supposed to be a little bit more of a nasty, rotting kind of corpse, and they went out and they got this medical skeleton, and then they put all the animatronics in it. And in the documentary, he said that he actually hates that scene.
He said it still makes him cringe when he watches it. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Just get over it, dude.
You're
it's
a
been
fucking
like 30
idiot.
years.
People love that scene.
Yeah, that scene's
yourself.
awesome.
Roll with it, man.
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk a little bit about Tony Gardner, the guy who's the special effects makeup artist who did the half zombie. His credits on IMDb are just madness. Like, he has like over 200 credits.
Ooh,
it's insane. He's worked on Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh wow, that's big.
He worked on Aliens. The
Huge.
Lost Boys, the Beauty and the Beast TV show.
Oh my god, did he
was
do the
responsible
fucking
for the cat
the
face.
Beast makeup? Oh, I love
Ridiculous.
that fucking show.
Um,
Good old Linda Hamilton and her guns.
and her fucking cat buddy.
Her
Like
cat
he looks like a
boyfriend.
cat.
I look like a cat.
Yeah.
Weird cat boyfriend.
The Blob remake. He worked on Nightbreed. He worked on Darkman, which I fucking
Holy
love.
fuck, he's done a ton of rad
Yeah,
shit.
man. Like seriously, you should look him up on IMDb. Like it's insane how many fucking credits he has. He worked on Sleepwalkers. I love the special effects on that movie.
Again, weird cat people.
Weird cat
Insane.
people.
It's
He's
a
got a
theme.
thing. And Army of Darkness. And he most recently worked on the new Mist show.
Cool.
Oh, yep.
I watched
Shall
a
be
trailer
talking
for
about
that.
Yeah.
Looks
Looks really good.
it looks interesting. I'm a fan of the book, and I really like the movie, but the ending because they changed the ending.
I fucking prefer the movie.
Really?
Yeah, love it.
I
Yep,
do like
kill
both,
all
I
of your
guess.
loved ones. Kill everyone you love and
Yeah.
never dread it. I love that
Yeah,
shit.
but the new show should be interesting. But yeah, Tony Gardner, he's like kind of like a legend in special effects makeup. Also, I think that we just heard Dan O'Bannon's voice in the ambulance.
Oh
Because
yeah.
the zombie that calls for like send.
Yo, did we just miss that?
The other voice was Dan O'Bannon.
I'm gonna ask a question from the question box.
Question from the question box. Here it comes. Here comes the question.
Here comes a question. Okay, so this one's kind of a little bit easy if you know anything about movies. Okay.
If you know anything about
I was
movies.
expecting something very uncommon there, but you're like, movies.
It's common, but if it'll be
Is it about farts?
Name the artist or group that composed the score for Nightbreed.
Shit.
The only reason I say it's
Oh, fuck.
kind of easy is because who composes everything?
Danny Elfman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's
that was a
cool.
good guess.
Yeah.
I mean, but he
I was
really
thinking
does.
like a band.
I know it fucks you up, right? Because it says name artist or group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how they get you.
I guess it could have been Oingo Boingo.
Oh my god.
That was Danny Elfman's band.
I know, it's terrible.
The little person zombie.
Yeah. With the one long arm.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with this movie, but I know that Yasmina was talking about it recently. So you probably know too, Morgan. The character Henry in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, was based on what real serial killer?
Henry Lee Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Played by Michael Rooker. I love Michael Rooker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
horrifying.
Grant. That's all I think about is Slither.
Yeah.
Grant.
That was such a good movie.
I know.
Thank you for making me watch
I just
that.
love that his movie is Grant. His movie.
Ah!
Fuck. His name. Well, Return of the Living Dead has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know, it's because
Goddamn right.
this movie is a cult classic.
It's fucking awesome. The
100%
budget.
cult classic.
The budget was $4 million,
All these
and they made $14.2 million in the box office,
Which is great.
That's a lot.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because it seemed like at the time this type of a movie was not really something that a lot of production companies and stuff wanted, and distribution companies, and like they went and defied the odds.
Yeah.
And and then they set a precedent, and then all kinds of fucking movies like this started coming out.
Do you know what, though? I feel like we say that a lot about the movies that we watch. And
Yeah.
it's like, it wasn't really a thing, but we just listed off, 6 other horror movies that were released that year? So how can
That's
we say...
true.
So it's like, they always say that, in the 80s, horror movies were kind of taboo,
Well-
but there was such a fucking influx of them in the 80s.
Well, maybe for this type of a
Right.
zombie
Yeah.
movie.
Maybe it
'cause,
was because the mix of making zombies
like a
slapstick.
funny...
Yeah.
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 The funny thing.
Because
maybe
there's
we
so
just
many
have really great taste.
Yeah, I know.
That's Although now that we watch... I think every horror movie in the 80s is fucking hilarious.
I love it. I love all of them.
Just about.
They're all super funny. Oh,
I
There's
don't
some
think
really
I-
bad
yeah.
ones. Though.
oh, this is...
Oh, sorry. Here's the part
Yeah.
with Dan O'Bannon in the ambulance. Coming dispatch. Paramedics. His makeup was running down his
That was
face.
pretty bad.
That was awesome.
Whoa, Jesus.
Literally.
That was a big ass
Jesus.
fucking
Ah,
Whoa.
Well, apparently George A. Romero was offered a spot to produce this, but he just never called back. He was just like, maybe back then they were still kind of mad at each other, so who knows. But, I did not know this, but John A. Russo was the first zombie to be killed in the original Night of the Living Dead.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
he's stabbed in the head.
Oh, good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I do know, like, the documentary about Night of the Living Dead is very interesting. If you ever get a chance to watch that, it's
I've
pretty
watched that
awesome
one, yeah.
because it's like very controversial for the time
For a
that
Bladley,
they cast
a
a
Bladley.
black. Yeah, at the time
Giving
they
me all
cast.
stupid.
I know. I'm transferring my stupid to
Doing me
you.
all stupid.
They how they like just had the like a black man like being
Yeah.
like the main character was like back then like not cool.
Yeah, but it was also
not used ever.
Yeah, but in a way, like it was kind
It
of
was
like a social.
revolutionary.
It was a social commentary in a way
yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
I think it was important that kind of a thing happened the way it did, and it was a statement in a way.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also, did you know that the original title for Night of the Living Dead was Monster Flick? I never knew that.
No.
Boring.
No.
Yeah,
That
that's
sucks.
weird.
That's so
There's
terrible.
no
Yeah,
monsters
and
in
there's
this
also
movie.
like a bunch of like there's one part in the Night of the Living Dead documentary where they talk about the copywriting issues, like because like there's one guy that was responsible for putting the logo of like the copywriting logo like in the credits in like the beginning of the movie, and because of that it became public domain.
Yeah.
Oh, he fucked
And
up.
he fucked because this guy fucked up. Like George A. Romero gets like no, like everybody has the rights to like distribute it.
Yeah.
It's distributed by so many different like
Oh,
companies.
man.
Yeah, like all because like one fucking guy fucked up and
And
like,
I mean, he's
forgot
not
to
hurting.
put the symbol.
I'm sure George
Yeah, I
Boy
know.
isn't
He's obviously
hurting,
doing
but-
well.
Look
But
at
it's pretty
that
fucking crazy.
lividity.
He's got leprosy.
Oh man! Actually, speaking of Night of the Living Dead, the remake
I love
The
the
1990
remake. That was
remake
directed by
is-
Tom Savini.
is actually like my favorite zombie movie. of
It's
all time.
awesome. I
It's
love that
my
one.
favorite.
It's funny because like I was reading
I
about
love
it, and because Tom Savini directed it, the special effects crew were like super intimidated
No
that they were
shit.
gonna be like good enough.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then but apparently like Tom Savini didn't want it to be like over the top splatter gore.
Yeah.
Like he wanted it to be more subtle. So he was like, "Don't worry about like impressing me or whatever." Like, because I'd rather this be more of like a focus on like the drama between the characters
Yeah,
than like
yeah.
the
Yeah.
zombies. But it's still a great movie.
It is, and the special effects are amazing. And like you said, like it's not over the top, but it's subtle, but it's still like there's some really fucking creepy moments. Like, remember that fucking skinny ass fucking zombie that comes through the door and goes,
I remember the fat.
Oh,
that
the
one.
suspenders?
The farmer
Yeah,
guy,
the farmer.
the fat
Yeah,
one,
that was
like
good.
when she first like goes into the house and like she like they find the fat guy. To me, when I watch that
With the
movie,
fire
when that
poker?
scene comes up, like I'm just like, oh man, that must fucking reek.
Yeah.
Ugh,
That must smell so bad.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the. Was it 1990?
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe
that's
so.
a good one. Well,
Yeah.
I recently watched part 2, like Return of the Living Dead part 2, and it's not as good as the first one, but it's still a fun zombie movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
still
super
remember it
fun.
I
being
still really
fun.
like it. Like there's 5, okay, but technically I want to say like I choose to believe that there's 3, and also this part where
This is the best.
the zombies are like trying to get into the church, and like they just cut off like the half zombie woman.
And
Collect
pedo
blood.
Brian Peck gets killed.
Yeah, he's dead.
Fuck that guy.
He fucking got fat.
Yeah. He's a pedo, so
Yeah. Well, we don't want to say too much about that.
let's leave that.
Yeah. Well, the second one, part 2, so that one came out in 1988, and it was written and directed by Ken Wiederhorn, who also directed Shockwaves, which
Nice.
to me is more of a thriller than a horror movie, but it's a great
That's the Nazi one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Like, it's really fucking good, and the soundtrack is so good. Oh my god. And he also directed a bunch of Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and but that one is also starring James Caan and Tom Matthews, like the two main characters from this movie, and Suzanne Snyder from Killer Clowns and Night of the Creeps, and Brian Peck also plays a zombie in that one as well. And get this, so
The
does
Michael Jackson song.
yeah, I know. You know who else plays a zombie in part 2? Doug Benson, who also plays a zombie in The Willies.
Right. I remember.
I know,
I heard about that, but wow.
Okay, like huge comedy fan as well as horror, and like Doug Benson is like one of my favorite fucking comedians, and I went to Toronto to go see him and do his like live podcast, and I really wanted to meet him, and I was gonna bring my Willie's like VHS to get him to sign it, just to be like, I know.
Yeah, I know.
I know you did this. But I did not know that he did Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Yeah.
So whenever he comes back to Toronto, I'm totally going to bring both VHS and be like, dude. And they'll be like, oh, check out my podcast. Maybe like our podcast could do something.
That would be fucking amazing.
That would be fucking amazing. But also in Part 2, Mitch Pileggi is the Sarge in Part 2. Fucking Skinner from X-Files.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I know, I like to actually totally
Oh
forgot
my
about that. But this is what is insane to me. Okay, so I'm gonna start talking about Part 3. But one thing I'm gonna say about Part 3 is that like a lot of people do hate it and say that it's a terrible movie, but I do enjoy it. But Part 2 has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and
What?
Part 3 has a 44.
What?
I know.
0% though.
Do you remember the second one?
Yeah,
It's
the
not
second
that
one's not that
bad.
I like it.
It's not that bad, honestly. And then I
It's
watched
watchable.
it again, and I was like, you know why it probably got 0%? Because of Suzanne Snyder's character. That's like the only thing in that movie that makes me hate it, actually, because her character in that movie is so frantic, and she's always like yelling like, shut up! Like, oh my god! Like, can you just stop? Like, I just want to go home! Like, she's just so frantic and frazzled and like psycho that whole movie.
To give the whole movie a 0 for that? That's
Well, I mean, I'm just like being a little like
Yeah.
dramatic, but like
that's crazy though.
but her character is so fucking annoying in that movie though. But I know how
Yeah.
much Morgan hates the face of the kid zombie.
Oh I hate that fucking kid's
His
face.
name's probably
Billy.
Billy.
It is Billy.
Of course it's fucking Billy.
Pretty sure
That's
that's what
funny.
it is. Yeah, the bully guy that then he gets turned into a zombie and he's got this like fucking stupid fuck face. I hate his face. It's so annoying.
Oh, that's awesome.
I shuddered today when I watched the documentary for Return of the Living Dead 2.
Is he in it?
No, but they were showing like photos and like clips and
okay.
stuff, and when I saw his face, I just shuddered.
Oh, here comes the babe bod.
Well,
Fucking
this
here to
guy
smoke.
actually, this bum here with the cart, that is William Stout, who is actually the production designer.
That's awesome.
Her face just reminds me so much.
Trash.
It reminds me so much of Army of Darkness.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yes, when his
Yeah.
his face is like elongated.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love it when
Or even
like,
that
she's
bat
still-
creature.
Yeah, I do love it when she's a zombie because even though like it looks like they didn't do much with her
Yeah.
appearance, but like it's just they just made her really pale and bluish.
I love
And
blue
then
zombies.
Yes,
But that's why I love like
Totally
Dawn of the Dead and
agree.
shit. Like Day
Yes,
of the Dead.
for
Day of the
sure.
Dead, like the color of those zombies.
Yeah, and like the mix of like
So good.
her skin tone and her hair color,
Yeah.
like I fucking love it. Like she looks awesome. But yeah, like so Part 3, Return of the Living Dead Part 3 came out in 93. It's a completely different feel, but it still like has I don't know. It has like more ties to Part 1 and Part 2 than the bullshit that happened in Part 4 and Part 5.
We don't even,
Because,
I don't
like,
even want to go there.
Well, like Part 3, personally, I watched it at a very young age, so I like it because of a nostalgic factor. Because like when I was a kid, I remember first seeing Melinda Clark like in Fangoria or like one of those like horror magazines like from the 90s, and like it was like the picture of her with like the glass shards. and
Yeah,
spiders
yeah,
sticking out.
totally.
I seriously thought she looked so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I bought the magazine and I had to like hide it from my parents because they would like lose it if they ever saw it. And I seriously like I always looked at it and being like, she looks so fucking cool. Like I wish I was that courageous, like having piercings and glass shards poking
Coming
out
out
of
of
me
my
everywhere.
shoulders.
But that one is like also directed by Brian Usna, who's the guy who directs The Society. And he also directed Bride of the Reanimator and Necronomicon, and he was a producer.
all great movies.
Yeah, and he was a
Yeah.
producer in Reanimator, and Dolls as well. Because Dolls and Reanimator, that's Stuart Gordon, and Stuart Gordon and Brian Usna like worked together a lot in the 80s, and Brian Usna was always like the producer on his movies. So then he went out and he wrote and directed Society was his first movie, and like we all know that movie
Yeah, oh my
kicks
God.
ass. Like that movie is fucking hilarious. So like you should give it another chance, Morgan, because
Yeah,
it's like
I'll give it
it's
another
not
shot.
like, I mean, it's just like, because I still like, I love the 80s horror movies were like my favorite decade, but I still, there are some gems in the 90s.
Oh, come
like
on,
I still
of course.
and like the gore in it is pretty good too. And Brian Peck is also in that one as well. He's the only one who's in all 3 of the Return of the Living Deads, and he plays a technician. And the guy who directed Hellraiser 3 and Waxworks is one of the other technicians in the movie as well.
Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, but like Brian Usna was actually disappointed with the film because of the short day shoots, like because the main girl, Melinda Clark, who plays Julie, apparently like it would take like 6 to 9 hours to put on her fucking makeup, and she had like she had 100 different prosthetic pieces
Oh my God,
to put
that's
on
absurd.
every day, and because that took up so much time, and like the scheduling of the shoot was really short for some reason, and they were like, like she wasn't in the movie as much as he wanted her to be in, so I'm sure if Brian Usna remade his own movie, it would probably be amazing.
Yeah.
Like even better. But like it's still, I don't know. Like I said before, like I watched it when I was a kid, and I was like, I had the magazine with her in like on the cover, and like I thought that she just looked so fucking cool. So like I have a nostalgic bond to that movie, but I could see how people see it and be like, this movie is garbage, like compared to the first 2, because the first 2 are obviously classics.
Especially if you're looking at the first one, it's just like, it's just completely different, I guess. Some people like get offended by the loss of the magic of the first movie, I guess. Yeah. But if you look at it as a standalone movie, then
yeah.
totally,
But part
it's
4 and
different.
part 5, like I don't know why they even like are considered
Like part of the
part of the franchise, like because like apparently part 4, which is called like Necropolis, it has like originally was supposed to be called Return of the Living Dead Part 4, but they changed they took the part 4 out, and part 4 and part 5 raved to the grave.
I know,
they both came out in 2005.
Yeah.
So that was like fucking like 12 years after part 3, and they were
the early 2000s came nothing good of them.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
some stuff
no.
maybe, but like
Fuck. Oh,
Not
on
a
the
lot.
whole, unless you're talking about you fucking don't like the Americanized The Ring movie.
Yeah.
But that was early 2000s, and that was fucking dynamite.
yeah, but like these movies were filmed in Ukraine and Romania, and they only just
cool.
aired on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
And like I don't understand like why they even like used like that title in there. Like they have nothing to do. They're the only ones that have like there's no tie-in. They have nothing to do with the first 3.
Yeah.
What else did
I
we
refuse
watch?
to watch them. I'm never
Yeah,
gonna watch
What
them.
else did we watch that took a name that had nothing to do with
Pumpkinhead?
it? Was it Pumpkinhead 2 that had nothing?
No, part like that was another one that was like part 4 and 5 were like just for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead was...
I thought there was another franchise that we were talking about where it was literally just that. I know.
Well, Troll 1 and 2.
Troll, it was
like,
Troll. Yeah.
to do with each
You
other.
can't
that
piss
was
on
it.
hospitality.
I think that was it.
Yeah, but they're just using it to cash in. I'm sure that maybe the name was like up for grabs or something. And
Yeah.
it's like the same thing as like Troll 2. It's like not even anything to do with the first Troll.
Yeah.
But you can still, use the name to make some money.
Well, Tom Matthews is also in a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
He's in part 6.
He's one of the Tommies.
He's one of the... There's 3 Tommies, and he's the 3rd one. And apparently he pierced his ear for this role in Return of the Living Dead. Like, before he found out that he could have just worn a fake one.
Good for him, though.
Yeah.
He was very dedicated, and it seemed like he was
He
kind
seemed
of
like a very
naive.
genuinely nice person in
Yeah.
the documentary. He was just like...
Yeah.
He was like the dad from Troll 2.
Yeah, but like he was making all kinds of funny jokes too. Like he seemed like he was kind of a character.
He's a character.
He's a character, all right.
I just love how much everyone prepared for this movie, like, to get into their role. Every single actor did so much, like, preparation, and, like, when they talk about it in the documentary, like, oh, well, I did all this stuff, and I really put my heart and soul into it. And it's like, it's such a silly movie.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's funny because it's like a lot of these actors, like you think like, oh, like James Caan and Clu Gulager, like I don't know, you'd think that they'd be more, they seem like serious guys, but like when then you're in a movie like this and they're like really proud of the movie that I did, and I don't know, you'd think that they would probably just be rolling their eyes at it, but I don't know. I guess also those guys, like Clu Gulager was in some pretty rotten movies, like.
He was in a bunch of like TV shows,
Yeah.
episodes, and so was like James Cairn. Him and James Cairn were like together in a bunch of the same TV shows, like in the 60s and 70s, like Dallas and Who Shot JR?
Yeah. Man, there's actually a couple funny things about this movie too, where like the two characters are Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
And then
Tom
the
and
two
Jerry.
paramedics, are Tom and Jerry.
But apparently
Yeah.
the Bert and Ernie was like not on purpose.
No, not at all.
Like Dan O'Bannon was like, I have never heard of these characters on this TV show you call Sesame Street. Yeah, he was like, I am not aware of these characters.
Yeah. It just so happened that it ended up that way, which is pretty funny. Also, are we watching, is this the theatrical version where on the back of the one guy's jacket it says fuck you?
I don't think they ever released that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if they did, but I did read about that.
Whose
Right.
jacket? Suicides?
Freddie.
Oh.
It says on the back of Freddie's jacket in the theatrical version the words fuck you are displayed, but the shot couldn't ever be used if it was ever going to be on TV, so a second jacket was made that said television version and can be seen on the TV versions of the movie.
How do you make a TV version of this movie? You'd have to
just
cut out
the boobs out, like all the good stuff,
I was
guess.
gonna say.
And maybe like any like extra blood splatter and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the boobs is all the good stuff. And,
Yeah, pretty much.
And then what would they do about the half corpse? She's got nips.
That's true.
Tell me you're not gonna cut that shit out of the whole movie.
No, because that's one of the like most pivotal
need it.
scenes. Oh, there
Censor
she
it.
is, still writhing around there too. God, I love that fucking scene. The brain of being
Dead. Like when she's like, brains, 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 brains.
I can feel myself rot. Dana.
He's cool. He's got those eyes.
Smell your brains.
They're so spicy.
Spicy.
He says that in part two
Two,
as
yeah.
well to his girlfriend. He's like, I want to eat them. They smell so spicy.
That part fucked me up when I was a kid too. I know that sounds really weird, but
Because did you imagine them tasting like the cock sauce?
yeah, so spicy.
Like a curry. Oh, I don't. Yeah.
This scene is like pretty
This
sad.
is upsetting.
James Karen gets
It's
in
okay. He's back in part two.
the cremation, and he
I like
pushes
in part
himself
two
in.
as well when they start to like change and stuff. Like they're just like, this seems familiar for some reason.
They all hated that movie though. It seems they disliked the process. It seems like.
Oh my god, dude! This question is about this movie.
Shut up. Okay, let's go.
Two hapless employees at a medical supply warehouse
that was on the
accidentally
back, yeah.
release a chemical into the air that reanimates the dead and ruins the evening for a gang of punks hanging out in the cemetery next door in this 1985 film.
That's funny.
Yeah, I wonder what movie that is.
That's a pretty, like, fucking detailed description for a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
I guess you
you have to be that specific in order to
Yeah.
kind of get that that's this movie. I suppose.
You know that one.
Smell your brains.
I love how the inflection in his voice changes when he says
Yeah.
brains. I can smell your brains.
Your brains are so spicy.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a couple questions. This one, I believe, is a true or false. Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, the star and director of The Evil Dead, respectively went to high school together. True or false?
No, they didn't go to high school together, did they?
I want to say
No,
no
they
as
didn't.
well. Oh, yes, they went to college together.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
They went
oh.
to high school together.
Oh, high school.
High school.
In Michigan. And this one is a description. See if you can guess the movie.
Okie dokie.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, I don't know.
An American ballerina travels to Germany.
Oh, Black Swan?
Nope.
Wow,
To
okay.
study a prestigious ballet academy, but when people start to die around her, she realizes the academy harbors a dark secret in this 1977 film.
Oh, isn't that it's a Dario Argento one.
Oh, yeah.
You know it.
Is Suspiria?
Yeah.
Is that?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suspiria. Name two horror movies that feature snakes. I'll say one. I actually kind of don't want to watch that movie because it's like one of the movies that looks like bad.
Yeah.
Like I watched the
like,
trailer and I was like, I don't think I want to watch that. I don't know.
Because it's like the whole time the guys, they're like...
Can you name another one? Another horror
Anaconda.
movie? There you go.
Yeah.
Those are the two on the back of the cards too.
An anaconda?
Anaconda and...
I'm trying to think if there are like any more that I could
Snakes
think
on a
of.
plane, but that's not really
that's
a
not a
horror.
horror movie. Yeah, I can't
Can
really
you
think of anything.
believe somebody named a movie?
I know.
Like that's
Why wouldn't they just call it Snakes?
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Add a few other letters.
Yeah.
To this. Name 2 horror movies starring Elijah Wood.
Maniac. The Good Son. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
That was
with Macaulay
not a
Culkin.
cool
Yeah.
movie, man.
That movie was not cool.
That movie was not cool. That movie seriously gave me some nightmares.
Is that considered a horror movie though?
It's a
More of like
thriller.
a
It's more of a
thriller.
thriller,
It's a
yeah.
thriller.
Apparently The Faculty is the other one, but that's not really a
That's
horror
another one of those
movie.
90s bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that movie.
Whoopsie daisy. Oh, yeah, no. And then, of course, I keep getting him and fucking Daniel Radcliffe confused, so that doesn't
Yeah.
help. Cause
Yeah, you're not the
Maniac
only
was one of them,
one.
yeah.
That's funny.
Some sort of large dog attacks 2 American backpackers as they walk on an English moor during a full moon. One
Some
friend
sort
dies.
of large
the
dog.
other begins to undergo some major changes in this 1981 film.
It's The Howling, isn't it?
No, it's American Werewolf. It's funny because they can't say werewolf, otherwise...
It would give it away.
Yeah, so they're like, some sort of large dog.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, I got one.
Awesome.
I think that you guys would get this. In Nightbreed, what is the name of the underground city where the monsters live?
Oh, Midian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a
Cradle
Cradle
of
of
Filth.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, that's like my favorite Cradle of Filth album.
That's awesome. Cthulhu.
Ooh, that was good.
Holy shit. True or false? One of the puppets in Puppet Master vomits slugs into its victim's mouth.
I really don't know those movies.
I'm going to say
very
yes because that
well.
sounds fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
It's true.
Of course it is. Why would
He
they put
vomits
question on that?
slugs.
How many of those movies
Puppet
exist?
Masters? Too many.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've said that on the podcast before.
Is Puppet Master the one with the guy with the white... He's got like a drill
Yeah, Blade.
on his...
Yeah.
or-
His name is Blade.
Okay.
But, like, I've seen the first one is probably the one that I
Oh
would like
no, there's
remember.
way. I see an X and that means 10.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Wait a minute. No,
10.
hang on. There's 12.
Ooh,
There's
really?
12.
All of them. When was the last one made? What year?
Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
And like, is that a crossover? Because Demonic
Yeah, it
Toys
is.
is another movie.
Baby Oopsie Daisy, Grizzly Teddy.
2004. It is a crossover horror
My
movie.
fucking lord.
Yeah, maybe I'll give the Puppet Masters another shot. I'll give Home Ec another shot.
I think it's something that would be worth doing with like a shit ton of weed and like a coloring book. Like I wouldn't fucking focus all my attention.
I would maybe
on
in the
all those
first
movies.
one because it's always like in franchises, like the first one's always
Yeah.
always the best one. But like I remember buying the Full Moon box set and got to part 3 and I sold it. I just couldn't. It was
You
terrible.
could only stand 2 and then that was
Yeah.
it.
It
That's
was
too bad.
brutal. It was brutal.
Well, I have a bunch of those. Remember that fucking Howling box set that I
Yeah.
have? It's like 4, 5, and 6 or something.
Yeah, like it's garbage,
it's so
and more
weird.
garbage.
Yeah.
Puppet Master.
Terrible stuff.
But I have Demonic Toys on VHS, and although I do love Michael Dordry and Trick or Treat and Krampus, one of the Krampus like toys is like a ripoff of one of the toys in Demonic Toys. Like it's like
Really?
the exact same. Like, but I don't really care. I still like both. Whatever.
Which one? Like the Jack in the Box?
Yeah, it's like the clown
Yeah,
with
the-
the mouth that opens.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's spooky as hell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like
Does his
saw
mouth
it.
open like that in Demonic Toys?
I only
Because there's that
watched
clown
it, like, the
in
one
Poltergeist
time.
too, under the sun's bed.
Yeah, but his mouth like doesn't open.
Oh, it's the
It
mouth
just
opening that
snakes
you're
its
talking
fucking
about.
Yeah.
arms around his
Okay.
neck.
Yeah, it snakes his arms around his neck.
That fucking stupid baby, I want to punch as well.
Oh, the baby from Demonic Toys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the baby from Dolly Dearest.
Yeah, oh my god, Dolly Dearest is so fucking bad.
I know.
We should revisit that movie again.
Yeah, we should do that
It's
for the
pretty
podcast.
amazing.
We'll do a twofer. We'll do Dolls
Do a
and Dolls and Dolly Dearest together. Well, apparently there's a book that came out about the Return of the Living Dead franchise in 2010,
Yeah,
and
I
it covers like all 5 movies.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and there's like lots of behind the scenes stuff.
And apparently, like, I didn't watch the whole documentary, so I don't know if this is true or not. Is it true that they're eating raw calf brains?
They didn't mention it.
Because, like,
In the
I read that on
documentary.
IMDb, and it said that, like, the extras were paid more to eat raw calf brains, and Dan O'Bannon, like, also ate some in front of them, so they would.
I think that actually was mentioned, that there
But,
were
like,
some
wouldn't
freaky
that be,
people
like,
that would do that.
Bad for you.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, like, eating anything
Yeah,
like
but,
that.
but
I mean,
what's
like,
his name? Hannibal eats raw brains.
he's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's
And
fine.
but he was a doctor or something, right? So, look, I don't know.
You mean in Hannibal, like the movie, like
Yeah.
with Ray Liotta? He cooks it. I'm pretty sure he cuts it out of his.
He takes it out of his head and feeds it to him.
Oh, I thought he like cooked it first, like on a little side pan thing,
fuck! I think you're right.
and then fed it to him.
I think you're right.
That's so funny. But
No.
like, yeah, I read that, and I was wondering if it was true or not, or if they mentioned it in the documentary, because that kind of like
You'd think
that
that'd be
seems
a
very
big thing to bring up.
unsanitary.
Yeah.
It's party time. Yeah, I don't remember punk rockers like doing that makeup in the
Yeah.
80s.
Strange.
See, half Lady Corpse, Cherry Davis.
Oh, nice. I like that they used the fraction of half
Yeah.
instead of like
Not
like,
like the
the
word.
numbers. Like it was
Yeah.
like the fraction, not the words.
Also, the baseball bat when he fucking lopped off Tarman's head. Amazing. Nice job, Clu.
Well, the movie is wrapping up. It's been a year. I think this is the 20th episode.
It is!
Wow.
Even numbers. Woo!
Isn't that fun?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
as
that's
hell.
good that we've kept consistent for a year.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to do it and overcome, schedules and school and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna
really
keep
fun.
trying to like get as many episodes in as possible while I'm in school, but I still see tons of fucking people messaging on our Instagram and emailing us. And speaking of emailing us,
Oh my God,
shit.
here
we
it comes.
forgot to fucking mention that a while ago we did an episode on Hard Rock Zombies. And,
Which is a great movie, and we had a lot of fun with it.
yes, of course. And the other day, I was on my way to school, and I'm in the car, and I'm checking my phone, and I see, oh, we have an email. Okay, so I go read the email. It's like probably 7:45 in the morning, and I'm just like, my boyfriend's driving me to school, and I'm just like, holy shit! And he was like, what? Like, he thought something was wrong? And I was like, the fucking guy from Hard Rock Zombies emailed us, and he was like, what? Like, okay, so I read the email, and in the email, okay, so it's EJ Curse. He emailed us to basically say that somebody had sent him the episode and was like, hey, check this out. And he listened to half of it, he said,
Yeah.
and he said that he was buzzing already. Like, he's like, sorry if my email, like, doesn't make any sense. I'm a little drunk. But he, like, listened to half of the episode and thoroughly enjoyed it and was like, I'm actually a really big horror movie fan, and I also play bass in Gilby Clark's band. But I was just like, whoa. That, like, blew
We were
my
so
mind.
stoked.
I was, like, immediately, like, texted her, like, group text. I'm like, they're probably, like, she's at work, she's sleeping. I was like, fuck, man, did you guys
woke
see
up
that
to
email?
a shit fest.
I know, like, I was like, oh my fucking god. Like, EJ Curse fucking emailed us. Like, that is hilarious.
I know.
You guys should check out his Instagram. It's pretty fucking rad.
Oh, it's amazing.
it's
we
pretty
should,
yeah.
good. Yeah.
And, like, because I remember in that episode, like, because we do our research on
We
the
were
actors
talking
and
a lot
everything.
about how hot we thought he was, so he probably
Yeah.
was just like eating that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, like, fucking was in a Playgirl. Or
Oh,
Chippendale.
let's
Sorry,
see his dick.
Chippendale.
Let's see it. Pull it up.
We couldn't find it. I remember.
Oh
you
yeah, I
tried to
was
look for
looking.
it.
I was
Yeah,
looking.
no, it was Chippendale.
Yeah,
he was
good
one
old
of the
Chippendale.
Chippendale calendar guys, and like his IMDb picture is just like ridiculous. It's like Fabio.
Yeah. Well, EJ, if you're listening, can you please send us those pictures that we couldn't find?
We need a copy of.
We need your Chippendale photos.
Your Chippendale.
So we're really interested in those. So please send them to the Witchfinger email address.
But it's pretty amazing that so we've been doing this for about a year now. Yeah. And we didn't know how many people were gonna even care or even listen to us, and not just that, but we've had communication with other people in the horror industry, like directors and writers and artists and stuff like that. So I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, we're gonna keep doing it. I have fun doing it.
Yeah,
it's
I love
jam.
it. I'm super stoked.
Yeah. So we're right now listening to the 45 Graves song as we end this episode. It's time! Well, thanks guys for listening, and here's to another year. Let's all cheers.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Cheers! Woo!
Cheers!
Cheers.
More beers, more years, and more fears.
There you go!
Pretty good.
That's what I'm here for.
All right, bye guys.